Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Um, so, my name is Safia Malik, and I am presenting my lesson plan, which is based on a lesson that I took from the module, which was called Skip Counting and Saving Money. And this is a grade 1 lesson that I am going to share with you. Um, so, to begin with, first of all, my focused learner was a child who suffered from Tourette syndrome. And in Tourette syndrome, as I mentioned before in my research paper, there are children who suffer from vocal and motor tics, at their involuntary movements of the muscle, or production of sound that the children cannot control. And in my case, in the case study, my child had frequent tics when he was not engaged in the task at school or he was sitting idle. So for that reason, I have tried to make my lesson as interactive and as engaging as possible. So to begin with, as Cook has highlighted in his book, each child who is suffering from a severe or multiple disability requires a specialized instruction plan, which we call an IEP. So for a teacher, it is important to adopt a coordinated team approach across the disciplines. And it is also necessary that the children's family and the educational team, which includes not just the special ed team, but also the general ed teacher and their parents, they gather relevant data and they interpret to provide an educational program for the child. In case of Ronald, he was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome at a very early stage in his life, and he has experienced both, as I said, motor and vocal tics. And also in chapter 7, Cook has highlighted that the writhing movements and fluctuating muscle tone are abnormal motor characteristics that interfere with the voluntary movement. So this is why, like a child like Ronald has those developmental issues in the muscles, and that is why he has an increase in the motor and the vocal tics when he is not engaged in the task. So for that reason now, I will explain how I have planned my lesson according to his needs. I have included quite a lot of hands-on activities, and for example, today's lesson, in my lesson, the children were supposed to begin by reading a book, which is called A Chair for My Mother. It is about if you read my lesson plan, you will know that it is about a family who's trying to save money to buy an armchair that they've been dreaming about. So basically, we're linking that concept of saving money to this lesson, where children are going to count and learn how to spend and save money. So I begin by the first activity. What I have done is I have, after the whole class reading and everything, I have grouped them into 3 different groups, and each group has to go to a center in the classroom where they're doing different activities. So for the first activity, the children are in the first center. We will see they are doing the skip counting with money. So if I demonstrate how I would do this with the student, I would have them, first of all, they all have the basic knowledge of counting in 5s, 10s, 20s, and 25s. They already have this knowledge. So here, if you see in the worksheet, I would ask the child, okay, so you're beginning with 5 nickels, 1 nickel, which is equal to 5 cents. So what would be the next number over here? So they will tell me, if you're counting in fives, it will be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and so on, till they reach $1. Similarly, the dime, they all know that the dime's value is 10 cents. So they will be counting in tens to complete this part. So I will ask the child, if you have the first dime over here is equal to 10 cents, what will be 2 cents? That will become 20 cents. How many would 3 cents equal to? 30 cents. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and $1. So that's 100 cents. So similarly for the quarters, they all know the value of a quarter is 25 cents. So they begin by 25, 50, 75, and then 100 cents, which is $1. So this is one activity that they're doing in one of the independent centers. For those who do have issues in remembering, they can be given the play money, which is on their tables already, and they are going to use that to find out the value of each and start counting like that, which might help them, because some students have difficulties in moving to pictorial representations of their work and they feel better when they're using it. They're using a tangible resource. So after this, the second center is the center where the children are going to use these cash and carry matching cards. So these cards are cut up like this into, so let's say I have a child who's coming to me called Anthony. So, and there's a whole group. There's a whole group of children, 4 children coming to me. So what we do is we all sit at the table, and I will ask one child at a time to pick 2 cards and turn them over. So in this case, let's say I have Anthony, who is here with me. He's the first child. I say, Anthony, turn over 2 cards. And he turns over these 2 cards. Now, as you can see, this is a quarter, and these are nickels. So, I'm sorry, these are dimes. So when they count these, so a dime is 5 cents. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And this is a quarter, which is also 25. So, Anthony, are these 2 equal? Yes, they are. So you will take these cards away, Anthony, and put them away. Next person is Ronald. Ronald, pick up 2 cards, please. And he picks up 2 cards. Okay. So we have these 2 cards. So these are all nickels and these are all dimes. So we know that the dimes are equal to, sorry, not only dimes. There's 1, 2. I'll ask Ronald, how many dimes do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 dimes. And how many nickels? 2 nickels. So 5 dimes will be 20, and 2 nickels will also be 20. So this is 40. And here we have nickels. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 nickels means this is 100 cents. This is 100 cents, and this is less. So I will ask Ronald, do you think they are the equal number? Ronald will reply, yes. They are equal or not equal, and then I will explain to him if he is wrong, why. And if he says that yes, they're not equal, the cards go back down again. So that is how the game continues until we find all the matching cards, and that is how it goes. And in the beginning of this task, I will also explain to them that when in the story the mother went to the bank to exchange the amount of money she had collected and they had all saved together, the bank did not give them any amount more than their money. they gave them $10 bills, which are equal to the amount that they had collected. So this is how you match the money and the value of the coins together. So this will help them relate to the book once again. That's one activity. Now the third activity is a very interesting one, which was not in the original lesson plan, but I incorporated it because it will help a child like Ronald to really be actively engaged and be thinking and enjoying his work instead of doing regular pen paper activity. So that is, the activity is for the toy shop. Now if we turn around here, you would see here there's a bunch of toys. I'll show you. And you would see that the children will come to this toy shop and they have toys which are labeled with the price. They have their price tags, and they have a register where they're going to, one person is going to be the shopkeeper, and he's going to take the money from them and sell them the toys. So for example, if we have a child who comes in and he wants to buy, let's say, the owl, which is for 50 cents. So let's say Max is here. Okay, Max, you want to buy the owl. How much is the owl for? 50 cents. Now each of them has the equal amount of money, which is $1. And I'm going to explain to them that you cannot spend more than $1, because you also $1 or more than $1, because you need to save some money, just like the family had saved money for their armchair. So you can save money which you can put to use later on. So they all have $1 and he has to spend 50 cents. So let's say he says, I'm going to give you 1/4. So I ask him, how much is 1/4? He tells me it's 25 cents. Then I ask him, this is 50. So how much more will you have to pay me? He says, I will have to give you another 25. So I say, okay, Max, so what are you going to give me? So he gives me 2 nickels. That is a 20. And then he says, I'm going to give you 5 pennies. So he counts and he gives me 5 pennies. So that is equal to 50. So I ask him, I tell him, Max, very good. So you gave me 50 cents. Now how much are you left with? So he tells me I had 100 cents, which is $1. So now I am left with 50 cents in my savings. So this is how they are going to buy and sell to each other one by one. Each group will go there as they change the sentence, and at the end we would have a wrap-up, a feedback, in which I will ask them to tell me, to share 1 or 2 things that they have. 1 or 2 children will share their purchase and how much they spent and how much they saved. And so they will be called up one by one to the front to share. For example, if I ask Max to come, he will show us that I bought an owl for 50 cents and I had 100 cents and I saved 50 cents. So thank you for listening.